as our speaker is Navneet Kaur. Welcome, Navneet. We're very glad you are here. As a dedicated grandmother of two and lifelong educator, Navneet has had the privilege of teaching students across multiple levels from middle school to college. Her passion for social justice drives her work as an activist, collaborating with various organizations to champion immigrant rights and advocate for marginalized communities. Please join me in welcoming Navneet.
Thank you very much. I am so happy to be here today. It's been long. I was here, not here, at the other location, maybe 5 years ago. It was a pleasure, and it's a pleasure again to be here today. I was asked to share what Sikhism, Sikhi as we call it, means in terms of what's the meaning and purpose behind it, what's the ultimate goal, and how we regard disasters, tragedies, mortality, and social justice and equality and things like that. So it's broad, it's a very, not multiple levels of that. So I'll try to cover it as much as I can today. For me, the meaning, or for most Sikhs, I think the focus is on seva. Seva means the selfless service to humanity. And the primary task is to help the poor, needy, and the oppressed. It's also conceived as selfless service to entire humanity, not just one religion or one faith, irrespective of caste, color, creed, nationality, and stuff like that. So no barriers where service is concerned. Sikhs are encouraged to, and I think in every religion, there is every faith. Religion is a very heavy word, I'm sorry. Every faith, every path to life that you choose, I feel like there is some space for charity, to set aside a part of your earning to donate, and that's also a very big part in Sikhi. And not just that, not just in monetary sense, in educational sense. Like if I have some education that I think could be used for some other purpose, for other human beings, I would be happy to share that experience and that skill and that education, and help those that haven't had that opportunity to have a more fulfilling life. I hope I'm making sense. So there are three pillars mainly in Sikhi, four I would say. Seva, of course, as I said. And then the other one is Nam Japna. Nam Japna is not just meditation. It's not just repeating the name of God over and over again. Just live in the remembrance of God. And in the sense that, and some people have said, oh, you're putting the fear of God. No, it's not that. It's not the fear of God. It's the presence of God, omniscient and omnipotent and everywhere, in you, in me, in everyone around us. And stay connected to that God, And then kirt karni. Kirt karni means earning an honest living. And some people have asked me what to you means honest, meaning, of course, it's the same as for everyone. Not going to the dishonest ways of earning money, whatever you can earn. I earn money by teaching or by interpreting for other people, and that to me is honest living. I'm not deceiving anyone, to earn that living. And then share that living with others. That money that I've gathered from serving, from giving my services to different organizations, and to share that with. So, for example, we do once a month we send food to Laurelwood Shelter in Beaverton, and then once a month we serve at the Arches Project to homeless. We have some hospital projects in hospital and educational projects in India, in the very downtrodden backward areas of the country where there was for 70 to 80 miles, there was no hospital, no clinic, no doctors. So we have opened up some, not some, but huge like hospitals there for people to, and those are charitable. There is a free clinic at the temple in Salem that we run. So kind of our ways of sharing that living. And then human rights. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go from one topic to the other because we don't have that much time. Sikhs believe that we all come from one source, that there is only one God. We may have different paths to do good in life so as to meet with God. I know that God is questionable to many of us, but that's what Sikhi believes in. Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhi, said, Allah Noor Upaya, Kudrat de Sab Bande, Ek Noor te Sab Jag Upja, Kaun Pale Kaun Bande, meaning there's only one God, from that God we all come. There one light, actually, he says, Noor, one light that we all come from. And who amongst you that if we come from the same God, same light, who are we to call someone bad or good? We are all alike. We do advocate for protection of human rights and dignity, especially for marginalized and oppressed. We are not just idle bystanders. We are not supposed to be. Sikhs are not supposed to be just stand there and observe and say, oh my God, that's inhumanity. Oh my God, that's a violation of human rights. We're supposed to do something, go forward with it, just do whatever we could. Like some of you know, Kathleen knows, there was a long time ago, it's been, 7 years now? 6 years, I think. In 2018. I'm bad with math, calculations. I'll leave it to you. There were some, we learned that there were over 100 immigrants detained at the Sheridan prison. And I came to know, I think, a week after they were transferred here. First of all, them being put into a prison was violation of human rights to me. I mean, there are detention centers that you're not supposed to be confined in the same area with hardcore criminals, And so the only service I could render, I was not a lawyer, the only service I could render was my interpretation services, that I did. And once we got into that, it was just day after day, just being there and being able to see that misery in their faces, and I think if I delve too deep into it, I think I'll just start crying. And it was just too much for me. And so we did more than interpretation. We did more than that. I was putting money into their commissary accounts for them to be able to get food, because they were served non-veg food, and 90% of them were vegetarians. So they would just not eat. So we were putting money in their accounts. We were, if some of you were there, I think Kathleen was most of the times when we were holding prayer services just outside the prison. just to gather the community and let them know that we are there for them. Various Sikh organizations like Khalsa Aid and United Sikhs, they are doing much more than that. They are going into the war-torn areas in Ukraine and Syria, um, to lend a hand to the sufferers. You know, they provide them food, even, you know, first aid kits, first aid services. I know that the Khalsa Aid was the first one on the ground for Syria and for Rohingya, if you guys remember what happened in Rohingya years ago. For women, you know, again, human rights, in the times that the gurus were born and did their, you know, thing, women were the downtrodden sect, you know. They were not allowed to come out like us. And, you know, that happened we know that happened here too, but back there in India was much worse. And so Guru Nanak said, Soko manda akhi jit jamme rajan, meaning why call her bad? The person who has given birth to you, to the Rajas, to the Maharajas of the world, why would you call her bad? And then Guru Amar Das, the third Guru, was the first one to step up for Sati Pratha. I don't know if you're aware of that Indian women were forced to burn in the fire with their husbands if they died. If the husband died, the woman would have to step into the same. We do cremate. We don't. It's not a burial. So they would have to burn alive in that fire with them. So he was the first one to step up. That happened, seriously. It's hard to believe, but it's Sati Pratha. If you want to SATI, the Sati custom. If you search on Google, you will know what happened, what used to happen. And the ninth Guru gave up his life for human rights, for the human rights of, or religious rights of the people of India when the Mughal emperors were forcing them to convert. He stepped up and said, you know, to go tell the emperor, Aurangzeb, that if you want us to convert the ninth Guru, and we will convert after. And he didn't succumb to it, so he was martyred. He gave up his life for it. I'm sorry, I'm just moving from one topic to the other. This also brings to us, again, it's connected, it's not so disconnected, man's inhumanity to man, or cruelty. And, you know, I think I've made that pretty much clear, that we're not just innocent, it's a bystander there and to watch one person. I remember specific times in India after 1984 when many Sikhs were targeted just for no reason because of the political issues and religious. That quickly became a religious issue. And I remember just going on a rickshaw and one guy being pulled off a scooter and surrounded by many men, and they were beating him. And I was all by myself, and I stepped down. I was like, you know, you're not going to do that. And I stepped like right in front of that man and said, you know, you have to punch me before you get to that man. And I'm not saying that I'm that great, but that was just so hard for me to watch that man being beaten by a group of people. Any mob, you know, can surround one single man, and, you know, that's not justice. You know, that's one against one. I understand you want to fight, go ahead and fight one against one. You know, if there is a bone that you have to, you know, that bone of contention, you know. But one person being surrounded by 20 people, that I can't do that. To watch that and be there and just pass by and say it's not connected to me. And so justice and equality are at the core of Sikhi. The central message of the holy scriptures, the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, is of humanism and universal brotherhood. It's a source of inspiration to those who seek social justice, the equality of all people, the empowerment of women and of the underprivileged. It is for those reasons that Guru Granth Sahib has remained alive as a guide to all that who value those fundamental principles of humanity and human integrity. Sikh Gurus have a long history of speaking against injustice and cruelty. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, as I said, the 9th Guru, gave up his life, and 5th Guru, Guru Arjan Dev, again for the same reasons, he was murdered. He was in the month of June, he was made to sit on a hot plate, and then over that they poured hot sand on top. So he died like that, just because of the social justice, just to prove that principle, that we will not bow to your oppression. Kill us if you want to, but that's what's going to happen. And the 10th Guru, in the same fight against the Mughals, his whole family was murdered. His kids that aging from 5 to 14 were all killed. 2 of the youngest ones were buried alive in the, I don't know what you call it in English, but they were made to stand and a wall was built around them. And the other 2 died in the battle against the Mughals. And that's what, that's why we do stand against inhumanity and injustice and cruelty. It says, one of the script, a couplet from a scripture, I'm forgetting it. It says, "Man apne te bura mitana, pekhe sagal susajna." One who eradicates cruelty within his own mind looks upon the whole world as a friend. So, first of all, eradicate that from yourself, and then, go outward from there. try to influence people with your good instincts, is what I can say. If that doesn't work, then the 10th Guru said at a point that if all means of resolving any issue fails, it is justified to pick up your sword. I know that there has been a lot of discussion around it. I've done these presentations in Christian churches. I've had 6 Christian missionaries come to us, to Gurdwaras, and for these presentations. And I've said the same things, and I know that I have been looked down upon after saying that. And I said, what would you do if you see your neighbor being killed by somebody and you had the means to protect them? What would you do? Would you just stand there and let him be killed? And they're like, no. And then why would you judge me then? That's all I'm saying. Protect yourself and protect your neighbors. Long time ago, in 2012, there was an attack on a Sikh temple in Wisconsin. And if you guys remember that. And the one reason that person did stop shooting was that one of the guys sacrificed his life. He ran at him with his religious little sword that was blunt, like it wasn't even sharp enough to, but he did injure him enough so that he had to go and hide. And so he gave up his life, because of course he got shot as he was running to him, but in the process he was able to injure him. So that's all I'm saying. Try to do the best you can to protect others. And then I know everything was heavy, and I know that Kathleen said it's starting with death and suffering would be heavy. I know that even equality and injustice and all that, when I quoted examples from history, it was heavy, all of it. Am I taking too long? It's almost 11. So I'm sorry if I'm taking too long. I'll try to keep it short. Death and suffering. Sikhism teaches death is not an end but a new beginning. We do believe in reincarnation. Ava Sundar, Tava Sundar, Marne na Janme. The Guru said, your coming is beautiful, your going is beautiful. You didn't die, you didn't die, you know. Your spirit lives on, your soul lives on, you know, even after death. It remains unchanged. Belief in the cycle of life, birth, life, and death helps Sikhs cope with loss and grief. Sikhs believe that the soul is reborn into a new body after death, and that the current life is influenced by the previous one. What I have in this life was influenced by what I did, karma, as most of you know. We do believe in that, and we do hope that the departed soul has done enough good deeds to rid itself from the suffering. Ultimately, I think the Sikhs believe that getting the mukti, you know, mukti means salvation from the cycle of life and death, and then ultimately residing with God is the goal. And then Sikhism emphasizes on detachment and acceptance of God's will. Bhana is what we call it. Jamman maran hukam hai paniya vijay, meaning birth and death are subject to the hukam, to the order of God. Through His will we come and go. I'm sorry, I don't want to overdo this, but the Guru said that at one point he said, Tera kiya meetha lag. It means whatever you do is sweet to me. I will accept it as your will. Man murak kahe billaiye purab likhe ka likhya paiye. Why do you cry, O heart? You know, you're just getting what you sowed in the past life. But the same Guru said, Eti mar pai kurlane te ki darnaya, meaning when he saw the slaughter and the suffering that the Mughals inflicted on the people of India, he cries out to the God and he says, so much suffering and so much tragedy, did you not feel the pain? You know, it's the same Guru that says that, so maybe he appeals to him, you know, to have some mercy on people that are being killed, even if they did, if you think that's God's will, but why is that the God's will? You know, he does appeal to him. I'm sorry if it was too heavy, but the topics were pretty heavy. I tried to do as much justice as I could in the short time. I'm ready for questions and answers if you have any. Any questions? Yes.
I'm